Have you literally played a game so bad that you have nightmares about how bad it is? That happened to me last night. Because I was playing, what was it called? Not God of War. It wanted to be God of War. Darksiders. And, oh my god, I had this dream where I met NPCs, and they helped me fight the boss battles for me, and I was still getting my ass kicked, but I figured they created a diversion, and I would at least get my ass kicked less, and that doesn't happen in the game. No, I will never have the pleasure of getting some kind of relief such as that. Because this game is terrible, and they intentionally made it terrible, because there is no way you can just sit there and come up with this game and continually make fuck up after fuck up after fuck up. You know, from every battle being a boss battle from point to finish to just no semblance of balance whatsoever. I mean, let's face it, it's a real-time action adventure. You need health. If you're going to constantly be getting raped by everything, you have a problem. You have designed a bad game. VIGIL, you cannot design a game. You should have all your money taken from you. And, you know, so let me give you an example of how bad this game is from my perspective of the dream and the level that I just, you know, can't beat, and I'm not going to try to. You go into this endless dungeon. I can't even call it a dungeon, because a dungeon is randomized. A dungeon makes sense even when it's randomized. It has a beginning and an end. Usually it's very small in size. You know, the rooms are randomized, but it's small. So eventually you'll find your way out, or find your way to the bottom. Not so in Darksiders. In Darksiders, what you have is a dungeon that just keeps spiraling downward and downward, and it only has one linear way to go, but it just doesn't fucking end. So, you know, you go to this one point, and I think this is like the midway point, and you find this night creature. It's huge, it's hulking, it can just reach out and punch you, and you know, it does a lot of damage, and you slowly dwindle away at its armor, and then it reveals its insides, and when you hit its insides, it does more damage, but it also gets mad and attacks more furiously. So, in reality, that's not a benefit, that's just merely a change in strategy. So, you're fighting this mini-boss, while also fighting the skeleton minions, because Darksiders is full of unoriginal content where you fight these skeleton minions 1,000 times over, because they're not really there to be a challenge, they're there to distract you from the challenge. They're there to, you know, take some of the blows for the mini-boss, because God knows he needs it, right? So, you know, you're fighting these minions, and you're fighting this night creature, just so you can get to this fucking key sword. And mind you, they're so unoriginal that every key is a fucking sword. So, you're battling these guys to get to the key sword, and then when you're done fighting them and you grab the key sword, another fucking night creature and zombies come out of the woodwork. In other words, you have to repeat the process all over again. You don't get any extra health. You don't get any cool items. You don't get shit. Welcome to Oz, bitch. Because you're just going to have to fight all this shit over again and hope you're skilled enough and lucky enough to endure it. Because if you die, you have to start all over again. I might as well be playing a fucking 8-bit Nintendo game. Oh, wait a minute. Back then they had cheat codes. They don't have that anymore. Now they just expect you to endure like a fucking nigger, but they ain't gonna give you anything for it. There's no loot system. There's no experience system. There is no means available to just overpower the opponent in the literal sense, and there's no stupid strategic point, no weak point, no exploiting your environment. That's all bullshit. They have never, ever implemented a game where that actually was practical. You don't hear about it because it doesn't work that way. When you program something, there isn't a way to exploit the environment. This isn't fucking Dungeons and Dragons. This isn't a role-playing game where people make it up as they go along in their heads and then roll some dice to see if it qualifies. No. This is concrete programming, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. and you are screwed. There is no way around it. So you go through all that trouble of fighting the boss-like creature and his little butt buddies. You get the key. You have to do it again. What do you get out of all that? What do you get out of the boss battle, the key, and then the boss battle again? Nothing. You don't get no loot. You don't get no exorbitant amount of experience points. You don't get jack shit besides having to take your stupid ass back up and find where the key slot goes and then do all this process over again. And that's why this is a bad game, because it's just like this over and over and over again. And there is nothing to redeem it. I don't care how good the music is or the graphics. None of that matters. If it's a bad game, it should be rated as a bad game. And no website is doing that because every single gamer is a fucking coward. They will buy anything. They will applaud anything. I could sell my shit on Amazon. I could literally take a heaping dump in a package and, wrap it up and sell it to you. And the worst I would get is a 1-star rating. They'd just be like, well, buyer beware. Buyer beware. I guess I won't be buying his product anymore. Ooh, you sure showed me, didn't you? I just showed you shit. I just showed you feces that came out of my body. But the worst you're gonna tell me is, I guess I won't buy your product anymore. No, motherfucker, you should point a gun to my head and rob me. I fucking took from you. I swindled you. I made you touch my feces. But meanwhile, you're gonna fucking tell me that, oh, well, I guess you sell a bad product. Fuck you, you stupid spineless worm. So, that's why I'm making this video. Because gamers far and wide are faggots. They are fudge packing, pound me in the ass faggots that don't care about themselves. They don't care about the gaming industry. They don't care about anything. They do not care about this as an art form. But then they want to bitch at the soccer moms because they censor crap. Soccer moms are always going to censor crap. That's all they know how to do. They don't know what gaming is like. They're too busy watching the Kardashians or some bullshit. And it's not, I know it's wrong, but it's not their fault. They do not know that avenue. They do not know what that medium is like. And if we are going to introduce it to them to make them less ignorant, we have to grow some fucking balls, people. We can't just, be like, gaming is a wonderful experience. No, it's not. It is a fucking con scheme. It is one pyramid scheme after another where every company finds a new way to screw you over. Whether it be through Steam, and they can dictate whether your account is active or not, whether it be through DLC, whether it be through subscription fees, whether it be through just releasing a very shitty game and you don't know it until you buy it. There is always some bullshit. There is always some plot in order to get your money for giving you nothing in return. And, I'm glad that these soccer moms want to censor games and regulate them. Because maybe when they do, maybe they'll release a halfway decent game. Maybe when Grand Theft Auto becomes so severely censored that they can't put, drug dealers and prostitutes in the game, maybe they'll, think about it for a minute and make a good Grand Theft Auto game. Maybe they'll be original with, the bank robberies and the shotguns and the hijacking of cars, and maybe it'll be fun. Maybe I shouldn't go that far because that's a bit, optimistic. But it will indeed be more original. And the same thing applies to all censorships and regulations. It forces the companies to actually get up off their ass and do something. Because so long as we rely on the fan base, the loyal cult member fan base that will accept anything, we are not going to get any kind of change. And if you truly believe this is an art form, you want that change desperately. You want the change more than you want to satisfy the customer. Because you know what? The customer will continue to come back like a crackhead. They ain't going anywhere. At worst, they might just pirate it. Ooh, but they're still wasting their time on it, and they'll still buy products related to it. They just might not purchase your game personally. So if I ever do release video games, I will say basically what I'm saying here. If you're a shitty gamer that will buy anything, hey, you may as well buy my product too. Because unlike the rest of those guys, I'll actually be putting my heart and soul into it. And if my developers were as crappy as their developers, I would wrap them in a body bag and throw them in the ocean. Because there is no fucking way I would allow someone to live that is so disgusting, vile, and careless about this business, about this medium. And it pisses me off. It pisses me off that you have the audacity to claim this is an art form, and that some of us actually believe it's an art form, and then you do this shit. You release this shit. You know, like you couldn't have figured out in the beta that this was a bad game, that there was problems, tons of problems, and that you would have to build from the ground up to make this halfway decent, you know, and just nothing, you know, but you won't care, because the vast majority of you want fat space marines that grunt, and it sound like a homoerotic porn. That's what you want. You want a fucking fat space marine homosexual pornography. And you know what? Fuck you. You're not an artist. You're not a designer. You are nothing. So don't tell me that I can't release games, or I don't know shit about games, or that, you know, just whatever. You know, you're gonna probably say my games suck, but meanwhile you're gonna go out there and purchase Gears of War 6, or what the fuck ever. So, shut up. You know, I'm sick of it. I am sick of you putrid scumbags and your shitty opinions, and it continues to make these terrible products that are useless, that are just collecting dust. They are not riveting. They are not original. They are not at all fun. They are just merely there to make someone money. Some very few people money. Because you notice the employees that have to end up doing tech support and shit aren't making the money. Did Relic's tech support that was helping me with Dawn of War making money? No. And at that, my Dawn of War didn't even get fixed. It just was bearable that I could play it on single player. So see, as you can see, the gaming companies just don't care about you. This is why we need piracy. You should be pirating more. You should be pirating every single game, but you're not going to. Because you are a spineless, gutless, soulless piece of shit. And, you know, you're gonna be complaining about ACTA and so, but it's against their rights, man. Your rights have always been impeded upon. You have been stepped on from the moment you were born. Before you were born, some woman got to dictate whether or not you got to be on this earth. Because before you even crawled out of your mother's cunt, someone was deciding whether or not you were fit to live. We have legal abortion in this country. So don't fucking tell me about rights. You don't have any rights unless you fight for them. Unless every step of the way you scrounge at the bottom and you dig at the dirt. And it is very grim dark. And I deal with enough of that in my life. I don't need to deal with it in my fucking video games. And that's it.